I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not want to get on here and record. Um, but got to try to keep things in perspective, right? As Bears fans, sometimes, and we've unfortunately been so used to this that we just got to chalk it up as another really heartbreaking loss. I mean, what in the world did we just watch? What just happened? What is going on? It's your boy Jordan JC back again on the Chicago Bears Breeze, and just wanted to recap this game. Obviously, for everybody that has a pair of eyes, you saw the outcome. You saw what happened at the end of the game. I mean, you want to talk about miracle. Congrats to the Washington Commanders for winning the game. And honestly, congrats to the Washington Commanders for actually controlling pretty much most of the game throughout. Uh, but let's just go over the stats to kind of start this thing before I kind of just get in my own head and I don't even know what I want to say. So, final score Washington Commanders 18, Chicago Bears 15. Of course, they were down 15 to 12 with 2 seconds to go, and Jay Daniels threw up a Hail Mary that eventually was caught by Noah Brown in the end zone. But just to kind of go over some of the things that I saw during the game, obviously the Chicago Bears um, came out flat. There has to be something going on with the game plan week to week, actually. I mean, you're talking about being a team that doesn't really know how to come out and execute at all in any of the games. And you would think that it would improve based off of the things that you're seeing, the teams that you're facing, the competition. You would think that, okay, there are certain adjustments that need to be made, but the Bears still have only scored 10 points total in the first quarter this year. Total. 10 points. And that continues to carry on into the rest of the season. Very poor start. Caleb Williams apparently had the jitters. Obviously, hometown, big matchup against Heisman Trophy winner. Everybody's clamoring for, what's going to happen between these two guys. And I honestly thought that he would come out with a better performance. Not putting this game on Caleb, and I'll get to that in a minute. But just the way things started, you clearly saw that they weren't ready. Shane Waldron didn't have a good game plan for whatever reason. His scripted plays they don't work. They don't work. Throw them out. Whatever you script, just think ahead of time. Hey, you know what? If I script this, maybe I should do the opposite of what I'm putting down on paper because it never works. The scripted plays are trash. And what we saw was off balance throws, errant throws. That was uncharacteristic recently and lately of Caleb. But you also went up against a better defense, a defense that still has some names on it. I saw Frankie Louvu actually did play. I thought he was going to be somebody that was going to be out. Obviously, Jonathan Allen wasn't playing, but you had a defense that continued to attack and blitz a lot early and often, and put a lot of pressure on Caleb. Caleb was scrambling for his life a lot. There were a lot of miracle plays where he got out of pressure and out of uh, 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 the ability to get sacked. I mean, there were a few miracle times where he gained yardage, and that was special. But I mean, when you have to play an entire game like that, or pretty much 75% of the game like that, it kind of spells disaster. And you saw that Caleb could not really get on point for most of this game until the fourth quarter. You saw that he didn't have chemistry with any of his receivers, maybe outside of Rome Odunze, who had the most receptions. Him and Rome kind of connected on a few plays that I thought were good. But all in all, DJ Moore still underutilized. I believe only 2 catches on the game. You're talking about Cole Kmet, who we were singing his praises. I put out a video about the fact that this is a guy who is really turning into a top 5, top 10, obviously, tight end who could do it all. And where was he to be found? Apparently, he wasn't part of the game plan, or maybe he needed to be in there to block an entirely too much of the game that he wasn't used as an offensive weapon. And so that probably was the game plan is for Cole Kmet to block. And that's unfortunate because you're now kind of hindering your weapons to be used because you have so much that you need to do when it comes to protection that you can't even utilize your better players. The one bright spot that I will say, it won't be doom and gloom all this time, but one bright spot I will say that happened is DeAndre Swift. He is continuing to improve week after week. He's showing the reason why we brought him in the building. He's showing why he is running back one. 18 carries for 129 yards, 7.2 average, and a touchdown. This is a guy who impacted the game. You saw when the Bears got on the board, on the scoreboard, was when he broke off that long run, and you love to see it. That was a very good call, very good game plan as far as using DeAndre Swift. Honestly, I thought they could have used him more. I know he had 18 carries, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that they could have went to him a little bit more often because honestly, that was the only part of our game that was working. We were really one dimensional for most of this game. When it came to the passing, Caleb was off going down the field. Caleb was off as far as throwing his guys open. Even when they were open, he was throwing behind them. He threw behind DJ Moore. He threw behind Roma Dunze. I believe he threw in front of, right outside the reach of Keenan Allen. He threw over Keenan Allen in the end zone. I mean, there were just so many just plays where Caleb's accuracy just was not there today. For whatever reason, it seems like there's times where you see him just be extremely accurate, and then there are times where just errant throws just consistently happen. And so obviously that's an area of his game that he has to continue to clean up. His deep ball is still a little bit on the unsure side. These are all things that we knew and that he was touted to have in his bag, in his arsenal of plays as far as his skill set. And so that's why I'm not necessarily dumping too hard on him. I think eventually down the road, it is going to kind of level itself out and he'll continue to become the quarterback that we want. We don't want to get overwhelmed by this game and the outcome and how we lost. Obviously, it's a heartbreaker. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to sit there on the Daily Live show and just kind of take it all in. I sat back and my mouth was open for quite a while, and that just it blew my mind. And for those that are saying, well, on the last play there was holding, there was an egregious hold against 55. I saw it clear as day. The guy's hands was inside of his jersey, holding him back to trying to get to Jayden. But let's just be completely honest. With the way the game is called, you know good and well that they're going to allow the Washington Commanders to at least get a chance at winning the game. Jayden is not going to not have a chance to throw that ball down the field. And so the refs were probably not even looking at what was going on with the blocking. They were just making sure, okay, he got the ball away, he got the throw away. Okay, let's see if the Washington wins or if the Bears stop him and they lose. And clearly you saw what happened, the miraculous Hail Mary throw to the end zone, the front of the end zone where everybody was kind of compacted together. Tyrique Stevenson was shown as putting a hand on the ball. It went behind him right into Noah Brown's hands. I mean, what more can you ask for when it comes to a miracle for Washington? And again, like I said, kudos to you all. It looked as obviously Jayden was the better player of the two this game. I mean, he seemed more under control, and a lot of those things. There are a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, he has a better offensive line. He looked like he had way better protection and time to look around and scan the field. Him and Zach Ertz had a really good game. They were connecting on different plays. Him and Terry McLaurin had a really good game. Didn't score as far as getting into the end zone, but I mean Terry McLaurin had a lot of yardage. 5 receptions for 125 yards. That's 25 per. So I mean, you're talking about a guy who got a lot of chunk plays and really kind of just completely demolished Tyrique Stevenson one-on-one for whatever reason. And I was even asking this during the game, like, why in the world did Jalen Johnson not go up against him? I was expecting Jalen Johnson to be the guy that went up against him one versus one, but apparently, I guess because of the way they keep to certain sides of the field, I never understand that. I always think that, hey, if you got the best player over here, bring your best cornerback. And that could have definitely impacted the game because that Hail Mary throw to him where Tyrique eventually tackled him after he caught the ball. He didn't let him score. That was a big play. That was a big, huge play that really turned the game around for them, that put them in a position to, again, score points. I mean, you're talking about they only were held to 12 points. The defense did its job for most of the game. And I want to say for pretty much all of the game, the defense did its job. You gave up 4 field goals. They got into the red zone a lot early on in the game. That I didn't like. But the fact that you were able to stop them when the field started getting shorter and shorter, that's exactly what this Bears team does. Even up against them, they were the number 1 team in the league in red zone offense, and you stopped them 4 times. This game could have been blown out of proportion. We could have given up over 21 points for the first time in 2 years, or rather 2 seasons, over 2 seasons, the span of 2 seasons. But they didn't. They gave up 4 field goals. And so your defense still put you in a position where you could have won the game multiple times. They did their job. Even when they were passed on and there were certain spots where Jayden continued to carve them and just take what he had, they still did their job. 12 points is nothing. In a league like this where offense is the key, 12 points should win you the game. When you're giving up 12 points, that should win you the game. And clearly the offense didn't come to play. They didn't match the energy. They didn't match the intangibles. They didn't match the execution. It was just horrible. It was a one-sided game. The defense had to do everything, and clearly at a certain point, they're going to be gassed. They're going to be gassed. Brian Robinson Jr. did his job a few times, more so early in the game for him. But overall, Jayden Daniels, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was playing injured. You saw clearly he was still hurt. They had to continue to wrap him up every time he went to the sidelines. But my goodness, it didn't look like him when he was on the field because every time they needed to get a first down, he was juking and jiving on the Bears. He juked, I believe, Edwards out of his shoes to get a first down. I mean, every time they needed to get a first down and he got out of containment in the pocket, Jayden Daniels was a problem with his feet. And that's what I expected the Bears to account for. First of all, going to the right of the field, but also knowing that you have a quarterback that's extremely mobile, has a lot of speed, is elusive, is quick, is agile. You know what he's going to do. You know what he brings to the table, and they still couldn't stop it. And so that's where I saw the Bears kind of not really key in on executing properly. There were a few unsure tackles I believe that they could have also had, making sure you wrap up. Like those were parts of the game that I saw that really kind of led to the detriment of this team. However, again, I'm not putting this on the defense. And then I'm also not putting this on Caleb because here's a stat that I want to mention. You know, even though here's his overall game, 10 for 24, only 10 completions, I mean, for the whole game. For a while, there was almost no offensive activity for the entire first half. He only threw for 131 yards, no touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over, but he got sacked a lot. A lot of pressure coming up that field. And when you saw Braxton Jones come out, I immediately thought, okay, well, let's see what Karan Amagechi can do. Here's his chance. 3rd-round pick, Ryan Poles put a lot of, investment into him, saying that, hey, when he's ready, he's somebody who can actually be an impact. Karan got walked over. And I'm talking about completely walked over, especially in the very first couple of snaps he was out there. I mean, the guy was getting abused. He ran around easily in like 1.5 seconds. I mean, Caleb doesn't have that kind of time. He had no comfortability in the pocket because the offensive line, again, went back to what it normally does, which is not give him enough protection and time to do what he has to do to scan the field and to throw it to his receivers. And so that was part of the game plan that didn't work. It didn't work. And you thought that would be the case because, again, you're going up against a better defense in Washington. And, again, this just shows that when you're going up against better competition, you see the weaknesses in this team kind of expose themselves more. You kind of put a spotlight on those weaknesses more. It's shown more. And today it was shown. It was shown that the offensive line is not where it needs to be. And so Ryan Poles, my goodness, you got to adjust this as soon as possible. Now that the Bears are 4-3, I mean, this is one of those times in the season where, and we talked about it after the Daily Live show ended, are we panicking? And the reason why I say are we panicking, yes, we're only 4-3. We could easily win the next 2 games against Arizona and New England and be 6-3, which overall is a very good record, right? But when you're in the division like we are in, the best division in the NFL, when you're going up against teams who are 5-2 and 6-2 and 6-1, like you have no margin for error because when it's time for you to play against your own division, you're going to have to almost be dang near perfect. I just was talking to Pat about this earlier after the game. What will it take for us to actually be competitive now that we lost this game because we thought that this was a must-win game? What will it take for the Bears to be competitive now going forward against their own division? I said at the very least 4-2. You're looking at maybe Minnesota as the team that you possibly could beat twice because it seems like Sam Darnold is coming back down to earth and regressing to the mean. It seems like that overall team is regressing to the mean. But you're talking about a Detroit Lions team that looks Super Bowl ready. I mean, completely obliterated the Titans today. You're talking about a Green Bay Packers team who, even if Jordan Love is down, Malik Willis comes in, and it's almost like there's no fall off because of the scheme and also the coaching. Matt LaFleur is the guy that runs that team and makes it hum. So are you saying that, okay, well, we have to split with those two teams at the very least? At the most, you got to dominate. You got to go 5-1 or 6-0. That's what it's going to have to take for you to still be in this playoff race. At this point, because now you're fourth, that is what it's going to have to take. Can the Bears do that? I'm not going to sit here and say they can't, but it's going to be extremely hard. It is going to be extremely difficult for the Chicago Bears to stay with this race in the NFC North, because this is the game that starts that. These next three games that we thought were Washington, Arizona, and New England, those were the games that were going to get you prepared for going into the North Division at 7-2. And so now that there's kind of a setback in a sense, we got to see if not this is actually a season that's worth saving or is going to be saved. Another thing I want to mention, and this is the last thing I'm going to complain about, but this is a guy who continued to get torched throughout the whole game. And for whatever reason, and it was shown, and somebody caught it, I'm glad it was caught, but I hope this gets back to the locker room and obviously the coaches, and that when it comes time to look at the film, he is put on blast. Tyrique Stevenson, you have all the talent in the world. You have the skill set. You have the intangibles. You have the ability to be a very good, maybe not cornerback one, but very good cornerback two on a team like this one. However, there are too many mental lapses with this guy. There are too many times where he opens his big mouth and he puts the team in a position to fail. He got a penalty called on him because he's putting his nose in a Washington defender's helmet right in front of the ref's face. You're giving them yardage. You're talking crazy to Terry McLaurin as if Terry McLaurin hasn't been torching you all day without scoring, but he still torched you, just like the last guy on the Houston Texans did, Nico Collins. And you feel like you have this aura about you, this arrogance to just keep talking and talking and talking. And now what's more egregious is that on the very last play, you're not paying attention to the actual play on the field. You're taunting and going back and forth with the Commanders' field. You're talking to them as if, yeah, the game's over. Too bad y'all lost. Come to find out, you know who his assignment was on that? Noah Brown. Noah Brown got the scoring touchdown. Noah Brown caught the ball. His assignment was to follow Noah Brown the entire way. It showed on the routes. He's all the way on the left talking to everybody in the stands before he runs back at the last second to get a hand up. He's the one that tapped it ever so gently so that Noah Brown could just easily catch it. Tyrique Stevenson, there needs to be some accountability. I'm not going to sit here and say that he needs to sit down or we need to cut him or we need to, waive him or whatever the case may be. Tyrique Stevenson is a talented cornerback. But what somebody needs to get in his head is, hey, you have not proven anything in this league yet to be that guy that you are doing, to act as if you are Jayden Johnson, to act as if you're Champ Bailey, to act as if you're Darrelle Revis. Talking about seatbelt to Terry McLaurin just because you stopped him on one play where the ball was thrown over him. You have no right to do that. Lock in. Make sure that you're doing your job to the full. Until the clock hits 0, the game is still going. That is egregious. That is utterly disrespectful to the game. That is disgusting. You need to hold yourself accountable to your team after you do something like that. Utterly disgusting, Tyrique Stevenson. Utterly disgusting. Play better, do better. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys, man. Like I said, man, miracle play. Jayden Daniels, obviously the better of the quarterbacks right now. I'm not going to sit here and cap. Very good game. Obviously, a lot of his stats were kind of off 2 Hail Mary throws, one to Terry McLaurin, one at a miracle throw, but the stats are what they are. I mean, he had a very good game. If you want to talk about stats, the man had a very good game. I mean, 326 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 21 for 38. He also ran the ball 8 times for 52 yards for a 6.5 average. I mean, he impacted the game. He impacted the game. Doesn't matter if it was a fluke throw or not. Those things happen. Aaron Rodgers has been doing that to us all the time. We've seen those 50-50 balls. It happens. That's the point of throwing a Hail Mary at the end. You either win or you don't. And so we have to swallow this loss right now. It hurts. It sucks. We're obviously going to be talking about it throughout the week. Catch us on the Windy City Breeze morning show with me and Pat the Designer. We're obviously going to give a little bit more detail into some of the things that we saw, some of the things that we think we can improve on, and just kind of go from there. Like I said, this game I don't think totally was on Caleb. I think he could have had a better start, but I think that he did enough where he put us in a position to win. I thought Shane Waldron was the real reason why we lost. You called a dumb play when you thought that it was cute to give it to Doug Kramer, who, by the way, his job is to block. His job is not to catch the ball. And so you thought that that was cool and that was going to throw the defense off by giving it to him when you should have just kept it simple, stupid, like we always said, and gave it to Roshan. We thought it was a setup for a run, but you overthought it as usual. And so, again, we'll get into all those things tomorrow in the morning. Catch us at 6:30, 6:35-ish in the morning because, again, there's a lot to break down. We have to move past this. Mentally, I think this is just going to be a sucky week. But, as always, we move on. There's more season. There's more time for this team to continue to build their chemistry, get things together, hold themselves accountable, and look for ways to win coming up, especially in the next two games before we get into the really challenging part of the season. And so, obviously, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. I know you guys are feeling terrible just like I am. It sucks. It hurts. It's painful. But again, as people say, this too shall pass eventually. I still think we have our quarterback. He just had a bad game. He's still a rookie. He's still growing. And again, I don't think it totally was on him because he still drove us down the field when it mattered the most, when the chips were down in the fourth quarter. He clutched up and he did what he needed to do to put us in a position to win. And so, again, I'll be down there with you all in the comment section. As always, man, if you like this video, show some class, comment, like, and subscribe, share this video with others. I'll see you guys on the next Bears Breeze.